When ants became the apex predator, army ant raids that emptied forests. Chapter 1. A Forest Alive. The Amazon rainforest wakes beneath a curtain of mist. Sunlight filters through layers of green, striking leaves that drip with dew. Frogs trill from puddles. Insects buzz in thick clouds. From a low branch, a pair of fledgling birds beg for food, their mouths wide, voices thin. In the undergrowth, a small snake coils among fallen leaves, its scales blending with the forest floor. Beetles scuttle through rotting wood. A tarantula emerges cautiously from its burrow. This is the normal world of the understory, a chaos of life, but balanced. Yet beneath the litter of leaves, something else stirs, something vast, something organized, not a single predator, but a collective. Chapter 2. The Hidden Army. They are Eciton burchelli, the army ants of South America. Individually they are fragile, each weighs less than a paperclip, they are blind. Each has jaws sharp enough to pierce flesh but too small to conquer much alone. But together they are transformed. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, moving as one. Guided by pheromones, by chemical signals invisible to the eye, they become a superorganism, a living wave. A predator unlike any other. They do not stalk prey, they do not ambush from shadows, instead they swarm. Their raids roll forward like fire, consuming everything in their path. Chapter 3. The march begins. They starts as a ripple in the soil. Ants pour from hidden bivouac, temporary nests made of their own bodies, clinging together into a unified mass. The queen remains inside, protected. The workers surge outward, columns form, trails converge. Soon, the forest floor is laced with rivers of insects, each stream a tide that stretches for meters, then tens of meters, then hundreds. The march has begun. For the forest's small inhabitants, terror arrives not in silence but in vibration. Beetles scramble to higher branches, grasshoppers leap in panic, spiders flee their webs, abandoning prey. The snake lifts its head, tongue flickering. It senses something alien, relentless, unstoppable. Chapter 4. The First Encounters. The first victim is a beetle. It freezes as the ants surround it. Dozens climb onto its carapace, their jaws snapping. The beetle thrashes, but each limb is pinned. In seconds, hundreds swarm. They pry open joints, slip into crevices, tear muscle and soft tissue. When the ants move on, only a husk remains. Moments later, a tarantula rears back, striking. It kills 2, 3, maybe a dozen ants. But there are hundreds more. They climb its legs, sink into its soft abdomen, attack the joints of its mouth. Its hairy body is overwhelmed. It struggles slow, its legs curl inward. A scorpion emerges from beneath a log, claws raised, stinger poised like a spear. For an instant it looks invincible, its armor gleaming, its tail striking with deadly precision. Several ants fall, pierced and crushed. But the swarm does not break. They rush its legs, clinging to joints, immobilizing one claw. Within minutes, it too is reduced to fragments, carried away in pieces to feed the colony. Even a small snake, once predator here, finds itself prey. Ants swarm over its scales. They cannot pierce the armor at first, but they slip into its mouth, its eyes, its ventral seams. The snake thrashes, coils, then stiffens as flesh is stripped away. Chapter 5. The Escalation, Panic in the Forest. What makes the army ant raid so terrifying is not the death of one creature, it is the emptiness it leaves behind. As the swarm moves, the understory becomes a zone of panic. Insects flee, filling the air with wings, lizards abandon cover, frogs leap wildly, and above them birds gather, specialists known as ant followers. They are not victims but opportunists. Species like the antbird, the woodcreeper, and the motmot hover near raids, snatching insects as they attempt to escape. These birds depend on the army ants, their survival tied to the chaos below. For them, the swarm is not destruction but bounty, but for everything else, it is terror. Chapter 6. Apex without claws or fangs. In most forests, apex predators are obvious. Jaguars with their crushing jaws, harpy eagles with talons like knives, anacondas with coils that suffocate. Army ants have none of these. They do not hunt alone. They do not strike silently. They are small, blind, fragile, and yet together, they are unmatched. When the swarm advances, nothing small can resist. Their combined strength is a flood. Their collective hunger is endless. A forest patch alive with insects, spiders, frogs, snakes, and chicks becomes barren within hours. The ants move on, leaving only bones, husks, and scattered feathers. They have become, in that moment, the true apex predator. Chapter 7. Silence in the Understory. When the swarm finally passes, the forest is transformed. Where once there was life, there is absence. Where once there were chirps and rustles, there is stillness. The beetle's shell lies empty. The tarantula's burrow is abandoned. The snake is reduced to bones. The ants themselves vanish as suddenly as they appeared. The columns retract. The bivouac relocates. The forest exhales slowly as if waking from a nightmare. And within days, life creeps back. Insects emerge. Frogs return. Spider weaves web. Another generation continues with their daily lives. Until the next raid. Chapter 8. The Explanation. Science of the Swarm. Why do they do this? Army ants are nomadic. Unlike many species, they do not build permanent nests. Instead, they form temporary bivouacs, living structures made of their own bodies, linked together like chains and walls to house their queen. Every few weeks, the colony must feed the queen and her brood. The demand for protein is immense, so the workers launch raids. The raids are not random. Scouts explore. Once prey is located, pheromone trails summon reinforcements. In minutes, thousands mobilize. Coordination is instinctive. No single ant commands, yet the colony moves like one brain, one body. The result is one of the most formidable hunting strategies in the natural world. Predators with claws and fangs hunt alone or in small packs. Army ants hunt as a living tide. Chapter 9. The Swarm's Rule. From above, the swarm looks like rivers of ink spilling across the forest floor, converging, diverging, consuming. Jaguars may rule with stealth, harpy eagles may rule the skies, anacondas may rule the rivers, but when the army ants march, they rule the forest entire. Not because of their size, not because of individual strength, but because of unity. In the South American rainforest, power does not always belong to the giant. Sometimes it belongs to the countless. When army ants rise, the forest empties. For a few hours they are the apex, and every creature from beetle to bird to snake must yield to the tide.